Today is Friday. We are having another session of Music Theory 2, Music Theory and Analysis 2, and today is August 28th. Outside is cloudy, inside is warm. Everything else is just fine. So, okay, yan na ating line. Okay, it changes every now and then, but whatever comes to my mind will come out with this introduction stuff. So before we go on to the leading tone chords, which is part of the handout noun dominant function, I am going to show to you some good news, which you know is not going to be good news. And it's going to be homework! Woot woot! It's listening report number 3. And just so you know, this will probably, I wrote it down here, this will probably take you up to 1.5 hours to finish. The listening is both under 10 minutes. So like 6 minutes straight. I think this one's 6 minutes. I think you'll enjoy this one. This one is about 7 minutes. And your recording is in the YouTube playlist. So instead of the files, I put it sa recording playlist natin sa YouTube. And it's there in the Google Classroom. Okay? So a couple of instructions here. You will need to listen to this piece at least twice from beginning to end. You don't have to do it twice in a row, but you can do it once. And then you can, what I suggest here is you have to maybe sit down and listen to it once. Just like, don't think about anything, just listen to it. And maybe you could think of other things. Listen to it once. And then read the instructions or the questions. So let's say A section is from 00 to 324. Where does it return? Or where is the A of the piece? No, read the questions and then listen to it again with the questions in mind, but listen to it from beginning to end again. So that's gonna be right there, that's gonna be 15 minutes, right? And then start answering the question. So let's say, or while during the second time, listening to it from beginning to end, maybe you'll have questions here that you could just write down kaagad, right? While you're listening, like, where is the A prime of the piece? You know, where does that happen? You can listen to that in the second listening and then like just type it in right away. Or you could read the questions and listen to it before you listen to the whole piece. You can do that. I mean, I don't think it matters. Whatever helps you. But that would be my suggestion. You listen to it once, read the question, listen to it the second time, answering some of the questions you can. And then there are some things, of course, here that will require a little bit more thought. So what are the elements that unify the whole piece? I'm not talking here about super specific, like, I don't know. You can just like say the rhythm, you know, what about the rhythm? You know, flesh it out a little bit. You don't have to give me more than one answer. You can give me just one answer. But you have to describe it. The other ones are, what are the elements that make the B section different? You know, and this is more specific, but I still want you to flesh it out a little bit. And it doesn't have to have more than one answer. You can just have one answer. You can be as general and as specific as you can, but I need you to explain yourself a little bit. Okay? That's easy. You know, it's easier because it has only 15 points. The other one has 50 points. So it'll take a whole lot more time. Again, you can do this and then go on with life, right? It's like, okay, I am so tired of reading for theology of music or whatever I'm reading, then I'll just want to listen to Mozart. Actually, you could just do that. You could do all your listening done for all of this if you're just trying to relax, right? So instead of like going through your Instagram or Facebook, which is not bad, You know, just listen to Mozart and stuff. Okay. Next one is Brahms Horn Trio in E flat. Same instructions. Your answers to the questions below will only count if you listen to the recording at least twice, which is not hard. This will take 14 minutes to listen twice. Okay. I give you a snippet of the melody here, and the questions are. This is a little bit more. If I'm doing this, this took me maybe 30 minutes to like accomplish, I think. And I'm a pretty slow person to like write what I think or like organize my thoughts and put it in writing. So 30 minutes, 40 minutes. So that would put you, that's why I said this probably take you up to an hour and a half. If it takes you more than that, tell me, I think. My intent is I'm slow in doing these things. So it took me up to like an hour, 20 minutes to like think through this, write stuff down. So most people are going to be faster than my process. So I'm a pretty good like indicator on how the maximum time of people should do it. So an hour and 30. So I said here, number one, what are your initial thoughts about this tune? I'm talking about the tune that I've shown you here. And then here are some questions that you can get started with, but you can have your own opinion. But this is just kind of like to stir up thoughts. Did you like the tune? Why didn't you like it? Why not? Was it calm? Was it aggressive, laid back? You know, describe to me, like, it reminded me of something. Did it evoke an image? This is really easy. You could say, like, at first I didn't think of anything of it. Second, I was weirded out. The third time I was listening to it, or the third time I heard it, it kind of blossomed into like something else. And then the fourth time I listened to it, the fourth time I heard it, fifth, sixth time I heard it, I actually kind of liked it. You can be as simple as that. Okay. You can just describe what your journey is with the tune. And it does repeat a whole lot in the piece. Number two, this is going to be tricky because where's the greatest this requires a lot more thinking. Where's the greatest tension in the primary tune? Then you kind of know, you're kind of familiar what I mean with that. This one is a little bit more deeper, a little bit more deep. Chamber music is often compared to people having conversations. Well, what kind of conversation do you imagine is happening here? What types of people are talking? I'm reading this to you now, so you'll have an idea when maybe you're first listening, you can think of it in that way. Horn trio doesn't mean tatlong horn, tatlong French horn. That's not what it means. In chamber music, when somebody says trio, it means 3 instruments. So when it says piano trio, it doesn't mean tatlong piano. That's like a huge joke sa music people. It's like when they say piano trio, it doesn't mean tatlong piano. Horn trio doesn't mean tatlong horn. It means the primary person is a horn player, and then the others would be other instruments. So for this one, it's actually piano and violin, which is super cool. I think it's super cool. The combination is super cool. So that's the chamber music part. Where do you think is the point of greatest tension in the whole piece? This took me I don't know. I was making this assignment and I was like trying to like write my own thing about it. So the writing part made me like put me up to an hour and a half, but like the whole making of this thing took me longer than that. But this one is the longest one for me. Write the number, minutes for reference, explain how the music and instruments build up to that point of tension. I don't need 17 sentences to do this. Explain how the music instruments build up to it. I think you've had a little bit of that from previous listening reports, so it shouldn't take eloquence. Was the tension resolved? if there was a greatest tension, you know, just, you know, if you think it resolved, describe how Brahms achieved that. How did he achieve it? Dynamics. Use all the stuff that you know. If no, explain why you think it wasn't resolved. So that's that. Any questions about that? Wala? Okay, let's start with leading tone chords. Now, first of all, somebody tell me, how do I write a leading tone chord? Let's say Karen, before, habang nandirito pa siya para sa atin. I don't know how to say that. Paano ba nasasabi sa drama? Habang naririto pa siya sa atin, or something like that. Anyway, bago ako makomatos, Karen, how do we write the leading tone chord?
Inverted po ba?
No. Just a leading tone chord.
Diminish. 7.
How do I write that? Ganito? Paano I write?
Paano write, ma'am?
Paano ko? Should I just write this? Leading tone chord when I analyze? Leading tone chord, LT. Tapos the rest is 1, 4.
Roman numeral po na maliit na 7. Tapos,
good job!
diminish po. Yung may circle sa taas. Charot. Hindi, ma'am, sa may side.
I'm being facetious. Yes, that's how you write that. Now, the reason why I'm making a big deal about that is because in a couple of weeks, in a couple of more weeks ahead, we will deal with subtonic, which is different than a leading tone chord. Because a subtonic, this is how you write a subtonic. Okay? You write it as that. It's a 7, but it's not a leading tone chord. So when I say a leading tone chord, you'd always want to imagine a diminished 7 in your head, because that's what it is. All right. Since the leading tone triad and 7th chord shares the scale degree 7, which in solfege is, you should be good with solfege now since you have a Mac gamut parallel of choral stuff. And then 2, re, fa, right? Did I tell you that one time when I was a BJMBC student and I was trying to train myself to recognize the chords in the inversion, I made them as my alarm tone. So 1 month I had like, of course, when we invert a leading tone triad and a 7th, what is the significance of inverting a diminished triad? Well, first of all, what are the intervals of a diminished triad? Ti to re is minor third, right? Imagine your air piano. Re to fa, D to F at this point is minor third. So if I invert that, I would still hear minor thirds. And if we have a diminished 7, a fully diminished 7, they're all minor third. So if I invert them, they're all minor third. So anyway, that 1 month I just played a diminished triad as my alarm tone. And then another month I played an augmented, which is kind of funny and like totally waste. I don't know. I'm never super conscious in the morning anyway, so like it didn't really help me. It didn't really train me. It just kind of annoyed me. It's like, oh, stop, snooze. That's what happens. Okay, now so those are the scale degrees that they share with the 5/7. So they can function as a substitute for the dominant 7th chord. Pero it has a less pull to the tonic, and this is the important one, because it doesn't have the soul. Right? It doesn't have that soul, which you would kind of like, if you just look at it in a piano, the T is closer to do, and therefore it should have a stronger pull, right? But not really. The way sound works is that the magnet of sound, and I'm being super general here, but the magnet of sounds usually happens within the fifths. It is rooted in the overtone series, pero the general rule is sounds are magnetized to each other if they're a fifth from each other. So that's the main importance of this. And you know, people will say, I know, I've thought about this. Well, T is closer to do and Fa is closer to mi. Sol is super far. So, but that's sa piano. Pero in the organized sound, fifths are always going to be more magnetized. And that has a lot of applications to things. When you're tuning an instrument, let's say the violin or cello, those string instruments, or guitar, those string instruments are actually tuned to fifths or fourths, right? Because they resonate together. They're magnetized in a way that they resonate together. They are sort of BFFs. BFF, sorry. Best friends forever. It's not best friend forevers. Okay, I'm not gonna preach on that again, but it's a BFF. Okay, so that's why leading tone chords are substitutes. They're not the main function. All right. When a leading tone triad is in root position, the root and fifth creates a strong dissonance of a diminished fifth. You already know this. I've drilled this, and it's just here to review. So most of the time, we will try to invert it, right? So we're in a leading tone triad, and we try to invert it to create a sixth from the bass. So if you think of, I'm gonna mess your brain up for a little bit. Let's think of A major, A major diminished 7. The letter names would be G sharp, right? G sharp, and then diminished 7 6. Sorry, G sharp. Root position with that, G sharp, B, and then D, right? So the G sharp and the D, that's the diminished fifth tritone. Now, if we invert this, which we make this a 6, the B comes down here, and then the G sharp moves there, right? Now, the B to G sharp, the outer voices, now we have a 6th from the bass instead of a tritone from the bass. So that is the, kasi ang inversion of 3 is 6, right? So that's why we kind of like it to be that way. So some part writing guidelines: double the bass. Double the bass of a diminished 7 6. Less typical, but you find this okay, is you double the fifth, which is Fa. Okay? Do not double the root. Kasi leading tone siya, right? And we all know if you double the leading tone, if you don't resolve the leading tones, I'm gonna put a frowny face and a -2 sa paper nyo, part writing. And if you do resolve them like a good kid, I'm gonna mark you -4. Kasi parallel octaves. Okay, so I will show you at some point this semester, I will show you where Bach actually defies that. It's super funny, but it's kind of cool. But for you, since you're not Bach, I'm not Bach, thus I don't write anything, but you double the bass. That's it. Double the bass. Okay. Now you might be asking, why don't we double the fa, right? So the diminished 7 is ti re fa, right? Fa is a little bit is part of the predominant function, right? Why don't we double that? I'm going to answer my own question. Because fa in this context, sorry, we're in A major. So fa in this context is the tritone from the G sharp, from the T. It is functioning along with the triad, right? And fa creates that tension from the G sharp. So it is in the scale context functioning as a predominant pillar, right? However, fa in the chord, the diminished 7, is functioning as the tritone of the root. We can still use it, but it's less typical. We just want to hear, we want to establish the root re so that we are hearing the G sharp as a 6th from re. And again, re is not a bad option either because it is a predominant chord, right? Minor 2 has the re fa la. So that's how you work. That's like kind of like the concept behind that. Number 2, of course. Okay. Even Timothy knows what that means. I don't have to speak any language. I don't have to speak Chinese. He understands. Okay, now, here's where things get a little spicy. Fa, 5th of the chord, can go up to sol. It can go up to sol. Of the tonic, given that the soprano and bass move in parallel tenths. Are you familiar with that? Yes, you are. Fa could go to sol if the counterpoint of the outer voices move in tenths. We're familiar with that 5/7. Number 2, it gets a little bit more complicated. Fa can also move to sol if the 7th scale degree is above the 4th scale degree. And everybody say what? Okay, let me give you an example. Actually, I gave you an example right there. There's a handout. Okay, I said here, you have a typical doubling of a 7/6, a diminished 7/6. You can still hear the piano, yeah? Okay, so here's D major. And then here's the diminished 7, the E in the bass. Re, re, G, C sharp. Okay? And then the natural would be, that's the resolution. Let's move to the 4th measure ng example ng handout. So you have E ulit, E in the bass. Right? T, where's T? It's above Fa. T, Fa. Fa is right here, T is right here. So, those two can go, Fa can go to Sol, T goes to Do. Right? So you're gonna hear that, and you're gonna hear it this way. Okay, I'm not gonna go into the full explanation why that is, but that is a formula sort of that music theorists have observed with people. Okay, that has something to do with the counterpoint of things, but that's just the general. So if T is above Fa in any voice, if T is in the alto and Fa is in the tenor, fa could go to sol. Right. Now, that is more applicable when you're trying to analyze things and you're trying to understand why certain things happen. The most important skill you need to figure out right now is to actually know ti to do fa to mi, to be able to ingrain that in yourself. And now there are contexts where if you go ti to do fa to mi, you will create certain problems, or maybe you think, well, my soprano and altos are actually singing this. Okay, so that's more down the line kind of guideline. If my soprano and altos are going this way, you know, if you're into arranging or composition and you want to write certain things, and the easier way to do them is ti goes to do, fa goes to sol, that works too. Okay, so you have those options. Now, really quickly here, I want to show you a Bach example of what I mean. Okay. Du Friedensfürst, Herr Jesu Christ, the Prince of Peace, Lord Jesus Christ. We are in A major. Okay, with your fingers, give me the Roman numeral. Okay, what is this? 1. What is this? Give me a finger, Aaron. 4. Passing down. What is this? Karen says this. Aaron says this. Raya says, what does Raya say? Yes! Okay, so we have a 7. Now, we are not in C major, children. We are in A major. So, the 7th is G sharp, B, and D. Now, meow, B is re. Did he double it? He did, right? It's a soprano. Okay. Now, where is T? Where's T? G sharp, alto. Good job, Karen. Knowing sign language. Have you guys ever had those notebooks na merong sign language sa likod? A, B. That's how I spent my time to school. I get bored and look at the back of the notebook and I memorized it. So, anyway, T. Where's fa? Tenor. D, right? Ti to do, fa to mi. Did he do that? Ti to do, fa to sol. Okay, now when we're faced with Bach, we always say we submit to what he has done. Okay, you see how the upper voices move this way? I'm gonna start playing from the beginning, right? And then it goes right there. Right? You see how if you play that in your air piano, it's close together. It's almost like a chord exercise. It's not, it's for voices. So he's trying to keep the 6th. See this? He's trying to keep the 6th on the outer voice, and he's trying to keep the 3rd to soprano and alto. So he wants the close relationship of those upper voices. That's why one of the things T can go up to do and fa can go up to sol is when you're trying to keep those things together. Okay, and then he breaks out here. Ah, it sounds nice on the piano. It sounds even better with the voices. So that's one of the devices that, what's his name? Bach uses. And that's one of like kind of like a premier example of why we could go T to Do, Fa to Sol. It has something to do with the counterpoint still, but that kind of shows you what he's up to. I have one more announcement. I have two more announcements, and I'm gonna say them really quickly. Number one, you have a quiz on Tuesday. You're gonna spell leading tone chords in letter names and sevenths in major and minor keys. Ano daw? Okay, so 5-7. Remember, I made you write the letter names. So I gave you like A, 5-6-5, right? And then you wrote the letter names, starting from the bottom up, which is G sharp, B, D, E, right? You did that. And then what you did is you figure out which one's the leading tone and which one's T, which one's Fa, and then you told me where to resolve it. You're gonna do the same thing, except I'm gonna add to this list not just a leading tone triad, but a leading tone diminished and half diminished. So I'm gonna give you a key like this. For now, let's just do this. Let's make this a pact. I'm only gonna do from C to G. Walang sharp, walang flat. So C major or C minor, D major or D minor, E major, E minor, F major, F minor, G major, G minor. No, I just said to F, right? Hanggang F lang. Okay? But I'm gonna include, okay, F minor, half diminished 7. 7. Right. So what do you need to do is you just need to think about it and practice, because it will be a timed quiz and it will be in Google Classroom. Okay? So I think you guys are capable of doing Zoom and then Classroom at the same time, right? Meron kayo laptop? Right? Cellphone sa'yo, Karen? You're not using your laptop. Okay, so you might need to leave Zoom muna and then come back to us. That's fine too. Okay? Okay, next one is the individual presentation sign up is up. It's in Google Classroom. You want to see it? Of course you want to see it. You want to see it. It's right here. And it's not due till, this is not due till September 2 or something. This is not due till like next week. But you're just going to sign up, right? Oh no! What am I doing? Ah, it's right here. Sorry. And you will see individual presentation sign up 1, which you're like, oh no! Mom posted the wrong one. No, because there's individual presentation 2 underneath it. You have Copeland lectures. Oh, Ryan already signed up. 5-7 version leading tone chords. Oh! Ooh, survival of the fittest. You guys, you're nasty. Joke lang. All right, cool. I love it. I love some spicy, spicy, juicy fights. Well, you know, somebody's paying attention to Google Classroom. That's why I actually put it. I just posted it because it's like, you know what? Somebody's gonna see this and they're gonna. It's awesome.
I just woke up to it, then I just like saw it. So
yeah, that's awesome. So anyway, so that's up. It's Raya's forever. She already put her name in. She can't change it. So Aaron and Karen, you might be friends still after this. Might not be friends still. It might destroy friendships, Raya. I don't know what you did. I know what you did. Okay, so quiz. So Tuesday, don't spend inordinate amount of time reviewing your diminished leading tone chords. Just remember, fully diminished is minor thirds all the way up. That's it. Half diminished is not a minor third all the way up. Okay? Listening report. Okay? All right. Just text me, message me some messenger if you want to do like a study buddy kind of thing. And if I'm awake, I'll study buddy with you. I think we could use I'm gonna ask